From World War II foes to close allies, the Japan-US alliance has been an enduring one. But Tokyo will be watching next week's election closely with the future direction of trade and security of particular interest. Michio Ishida reports.
After Japan's surrender in the Second World War, the U.S. occupied Japan and wrote into its constitution the renunciation of war. The two countries also formed a bilateral security treaty and a status of forces agreement, which shaped today's security alliance. But bilateral economic relations have always been a bit more volatile. Trade frictions over Japanese steel to automobiles are a common feature. The U.S. also wants Japan to open its markets to its farm products. During the Obama administration, economic ties focused on negotiating the Trans-Pacific Partnership Agreement. But after Donald Trump came to power, the U.S. abandoned the framework and pushed for a bilateral trade agreement. Last October, the U.S.-Japan Trade Pact, along with a Digital Trade Accord, was signed and went into effect this January. Automobiles, a hot-button issues, were not included in the Phase 1 deal. Negotiation was initially planned earlier this year, but was put off due to the COVID-19 pandemic.
大統領選挙前においてはですね、対日貿易協定というのは優先事項ではないということで、今のところまだ始まってないということですので、この大統領選挙後にもう一回日米貿易交渉が行われると。
Mr. Sugawara, an expert in trade, said regardless of who becomes president, Japan will face tough negotiation.
トランプ大統領の場合はやはり、その自動車等を含めてですね、何か日本に制裁関税のような脅しをかけてですね、交渉してくるというスタイルをこれまでも取ってきてますので、日本にとって非常にタフな交渉になるということが予想されますし、バイデン政権の場合は環境とか労働とかという観点をトランプ政権よりも重視すると見込まれてますので、そういった観点でもですね、日本に対して厳しい要求を突きつけてくるという可能性があるかなというふうに考えています。
Trade aside, observers in Japan are concerned that if Mr. Trump is re-elected, Japan could be pressured to toughen its stance towards China, its largest trading partner.
If Taiwan became
This could be a headache for Japan despite its own concern about China's military buildup and increased activities near the disputed islands in the East China Sea.
We can't use a contained policy that U.S. or U.S. allies conducted during the Cold War. China's economy is too big to be contained. But China's strength, China's influence has kept expanding. We must do something.
But things have not been going well for Japan on the defense front. The country recently scrapped the plan to deploy the U.S.-made Aegis Ashore ballistic missile defense system, which was meant to protect Japan from regional rivals such as North Korea and China.
Some Japanese are saying that we must ask American government to deploy their intermediate range missile on American base in Japan. That's one alternative. Or we could have those missiles by ourselves on the Japanese land.
Japan depends on the U.S. for security, but China's rising clout means that regardless who wins the U.S. election come November 3rd, there will be challenging times ahead as Japan navigates the growing big power rivalry. Michio Ishida, CNA, Tokyo.